Alright, let's split some wood. This aspen here. Okay, so I know what you're thinking. What kind of redneck wood splitter is this? Well, that's just why I like it, because it is redneck. But very effective and very efficient. Alright, you've seen enough wood split. So just some quick comments on this Stickler log splitter. There's several videos on YouTube about this. You can go to the website and read about it too. Just a cone splitter or a screw splitter that mounts to your vehicle. Okay, uses the power of your vehicle to split the wood rather than having a separate engine. Which is fine. I mean, to me, there's advantages to both. The reason I ended up with the Stickler instead of a hydraulic splitter, not only was cost. This is about $300 shipped new versus $1,000 or more, $1,500 for a log splitter, a hydraulic log splitter. The biggest reason, I just didn't want another engine to take care of. I already maintain this vehicle. This is my daily driver, this Jeep TJ, this 02 Wrangler. 6-cylinder with an ARB air locker in the rear and front. So I just leave the locker unlocked, leave the other wheel on the ground, so it functions as an open differential and just one wheel spins. And I just didn't want another. I've got like 6 or 7 engines in my garage with the weed eater and the lawnmower and the rototiller and the chainsaw. It just goes on and on. I'm just tired of maintaining, fixing oil and changing oil filters. Oops, I didn't put stable in. Now the engine's all gummed up, and I got to take the carburetor apart and clean it. And I'm sick of engines. So I already maintained this one. It puts out pretty clean exhaust because it goes through a catalytic converter course, and of course puts out more exhaust than a hydraulic splitter. So I guess you could argue that both ways, but so cost, and I'm just tired of maintaining another engine. Some people say, well, this takes too long to set up. I use this little electric impact. This was like $80 on sale at I think Pet Boys. I've seen it at AutoZone too. So 24 volts, half-inch drive. You know, you jack it up, the tire comes off in less than a minute. The Stickler goes on in less than 2 minutes. So it's like 5-minute whole setup. So for me splitting wood, you know, 3 times a year that I'm going to split wood, it just doesn't make sense for me to be maintaining another engine, $1,500 component, or $1,500, $1,000 log splitter. And sure, you can make log splitters for a little bit cheaper if you have the ingenuity to do it, which I thought a lot about buying used parts. But you know, this is reliable. It's bulletproof. As long as my Jeep's running, this is running. So I went ahead and went with this. And as far as throttle control goes, that was the only issue that I kind of ran into. Idle in the Jeep is about 750 RPMs. Turns this very, very slow. It'll split wood all day. In fact, I split 24-inch rounds. That's obviously not that big, but some pretty big rounds. 24 inches is about the biggest. And just set it against it and it just splits it. Doesn't kill the engine, 6-cylinder of course, but so you can raise the RPM to as fast as you want. If you raise it to 3,500 RPM, this thing spins fast, and you can split the heck out of it. As soon as you put it on there, it's already splitting it, and you can just put it on and split it and split it and split it. There's a video on YouTube right now that shows a guy doing that, and to me it's just too fast. The higher the speed, the higher the chance of if something goes wrong, that it really results in a disaster. So obviously 500, 750 RPM would be ideal because it's so slow, but it is really slow. So I've tried to draw a line down and run about 1700, 1800 RPMs, a little bit less than 2000 seems to be a good compromise of those two. And that's just my own comfort zone. So not knocking anybody else in the way they do it. I could get this done a lot faster if I ran it at 3000 RPM. As far as throttle control goes, have a throttle control made by Teraflex here. And, you know, when I first got the Stickler, I put a brick against the accelerator pedal. That's redneck. At least that's what my wife said. But I'm a redneck, so that's okay. This Teraflex throttle control for the TJ is like $35 shipped on eBay, off eBay rather. Someplace in California was selling them pretty cheap. So, and the cable length is right for the TJ. So now we have on the throttle plate, we have the cruise control, we have the accelerator cable, and now I have this cable. And so, just start the engine, set it to whatever RPM you want. I wanted this anyway because I do a little bit of four-wheeling in this TJ, and trying to work 3 controls with 2 feet is hard. So if you can set your RPM at 1500, 1800 RPM, 2000 RPM while you're wheeling, and then work the clutch and feather the clutch and then work the brake with the other 2 feet, or with your 2 feet, works a lot better. Also, if I'm winching and want to raise the RPM, get the winch go a little faster, I can raise the RPM, set it to whatever RPM I want. If you've got an onboard welder and you want to run the engine faster to get more output out of your alternator, just set the RPM. And so now I use it for the Stickler also. Also, if you're jumping somebody's battery and you want to increase the output of your alternator, you just... And like my sound effects. So now it has another purpose. It runs my Stickler. So just try to set it about that compromise 1700, 1800 RPM for this TJ, and that seems to be a good speed for efficiency and safety for me. So, all right, well that's it. Works really well. I've split about 3 chords with it now. I'm working on about 2 chords actually. I'm working on the 3rd chord. Should be able to get that done today. I like it. So any questions or comments, please feel free to post below. Just like any piece of machinery, again, you got to be careful around it. And if you catch your glove on the tip of that, when it's spinning, this is all nice and smooth. This isn't sharp. So you catch your leg on it or put your leg against your glove, it doesn't catch it or anything. But if your glove gets caught here, or your finger gets caught here, that could be disastrous. And on the other hand, you know, people have amputated their fingers with hydraulic log splitters. So you get your finger in the way of that splitter, it's not going to stop for anything. You know, 25 tons is a freaking lot of force. So, and the same with this. You know, you can hurt yourself with this too. So, just caution's advised around any piece of machinery, and you have to be conscious of it and the dangers of it, and be willing to accept the risks. So, and if you're using an electric log splitter, you know, it sounds safer because it's electric, but it's not. It can still jack up your hand if you get it in the way, or your arm if you fall on it while it's splitting. So any of that kind of stuff can happen. So I just try to keep my distance, kneel down, keep a good working distance, put my piece on here, keep my hand away from this side of it. I never put my hand on that side of the log. And you just touch the log to it and then let it go because it's already driving into the log and pulling the log on. So I try to keep this about 9 inches off the ground. I'm splitting logs that are about 16 inches or so. And because our wood stove's pretty small, so 16 inches is about the maximum width it'll take comfortably. And then so if you stick it on like this, eventually, because it's going down the log splitter, it'll start spinning. And then once it starts spinning, you got to shut the engine off to get it off, and if it comes flying apart, if it's almost split and then it starts spinning, it'll go flying. And I had that happen once because I had this about 12 inches off the ground up here, and I'm splitting 16-inch pieces, and one of them kind of started working its way around and started spinning and then came flying off, and I was like, okay, that's retarded. That can't happen again. So I keep it close to the ground. 30-degree angle, I think is what he says, the guy that engineered this says, and then stick it on, and then the driving force as it spins it drives this side down, and then don't do it on the dirt or lawn or whatever. Make sure you have a piece of wood underneath. That'll consistently stop the log. dirt will just dig a hole and make the dirt softer and softer, and pretty soon your log will be spinning at the length that you cut them at. So just some learning experiences for me, so hopefully you won't make the same mistakes. And always wear eye protection. You know, I've thought about, and gloves that fit tight. Make sure your shirts fit tight. There's no loose clothing. Obviously, if you're using this, you're probably not wearing a long tie, or you get your dreadlocks caught in it or whatever. You got to be conscious of that kind of stuff. So it is a piece of machinery. Otherwise, it's working good. I'm happy with it, and feel free to post below and comment on it.